Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the Swiss. Coming off a rough NFL Sunday, man. I had an awesome week 12 and an awesome week 13, and I came into last week with all this momentum. Top ends went 1-3-1. Felt like I was a little unlucky to lose that Raiders +3 bet, but you know what? I was lucky to win the Bucks game. So just not a great Sunday. Did win a few dollars back on Monday night. I had Giants in over, but I also had Dolphins -14, so it was only a few bucks. So let's put that in the past, move on to week 15. Got Thursday night football here, and we got AFC West. Chargers on the road in Las Vegas. Raiders are laying 3 points at home, and the total's all the way down at 34. Let's do it.
Welcome to the Swiss. The Swiss. Swiss. Hey, get the Swiss.
So check this out. It's looking like the public is all over the Raiders in this one. Tickets on Las Vegas, handle on Las Vegas. Raiders are looking like the heavy public side so far here. Let's talk injuries. Justin Herbert, as I'm sure you've heard, out for the season. So Easton Stick's going to get the start at quarterback. A couple other question marks here on the Chargers offense. Keenan Allen hasn't practiced all week. His status is up in the air. That guard and Everett both haven't missed a practice, though, so they're both listed as questionable. I think they're both going to play. On the defensive side of the ball, we've got Joey Bosa still out. Also looks like Dwayne Leonard, the corner, looks like he's going to be out as well. He's listed as questionable, but he hasn't practiced at all. The other two question marks, though, both on the defensive line, Sebastian Joseph Day and Nick Williams. Looks like they're both going to play. They haven't missed a practice. We got 3 question marks on the Raiders offense, and none of these 3 guys have practiced all week, so there's a good chance they're missing all 3 of these pieces. Left tackle Colton Miller, center Andre James, and running back Josh Jacobs. Like I said, none of them have practiced this week. Got a scary question mark on the other side of the ball as well for the Raiders. Max Crosby listed as questionable, and he also hasn't practiced all week. His status is up in the air. The corner Robertson, though, he's also listed as questionable, but he's been practicing all week, so I think he's going to play. So let's match these two teams up on the field, and the Chargers offense, man. Wow. In the last 3 games, they're averaging just 7.7 points per game, 267 yards per game. That's 31st and 32nd in the NFL. Actually, the 31st, the 267 yards per game is 31st only to the Houston Texans. Texans averaging the least amount of yards per game in the last 3. But yeah, this Chargers offense, embarrassingly next level bad. And now we've got Easton Stick from North Dakota State starting at quarterback. He actually wasn't bad at all last week, though. Obviously, it's a downgrade from Justin Herbert, but Herbert's been kind of banged up this whole year and really hasn't looked much like himself recently. But Easton Stick was slinging the ball a little bit. He took over just before halftime. He was 13 of 24, 179 yards. That's 7.5 yards per pass attempt, a 78 passer rating. One thing to take note of, though, he was struggling a bit in his first few drives out there. Then he started completing passes and moving the ball once Denver took a 17-0 lead in the fourth quarter, which means there's a chance the Broncos were softening up in coverage a little bit just to make sure they don't give anything up over the top. I'm not trying to take anything away from this kid. I actually liked what I saw. He's got a strong arm, made some nice throws, including a 50-yard bomb that was on the money to Quentin Johnston. I mean, that was a beautiful throw. Look, there's going to be opportunities for Easton Stick to make plays through the air in this game. The Raiders' pass defense is suspect. If you look at their numbers on the year, they actually look pretty decent. They're 11th in yards per pass attempt allowed, 18th in DVOA, 19th in PFF coverage grade, which isn't bad. But you got to look at the Raiders' schedule to get the full story here. They were getting cooked through the air early. Russell Wilson, Josh Allen, Kenny Pickett even had a good game against the Raiders early. But then the Raiders had a really fortunate stretch of schedule as far as the quarterbacks they saw, and they even struggled against some of those as well. Mac Jones and Tyson Bagent both had good games throwing the ball against the Raiders. Then you had Tommy DeVito in his first ever NFL game, Zach Wilson, Joshua Dobbs. I mean, the Raiders have had a lot of cupcake games in there that are making their numbers against the pass look a lot better than they should be. If you look at the Raiders' pass defense in their last 3 games against teams that can actually throw the ball, and I'm not talking about elite passing attacks, just take out the cupcakes, those numbers aren't good at all. Over 73% completions, over 8 yards per pass attempt, over 300 yards per game allowed. I don't trust this Raiders pass defense at all. And the Raiders pass rush might be the most overhyped unit in the NFL. I mean, I know Max Crosby gets a ton of hype, and he's awesome. Max Crosby, obviously very good, but the Raiders as a whole do not generate pressure like that. On the season, they're just 27th in pressure rate, 31st in QB hurry rate, 20th in adjusted sack rate. I kind of like the spot for Easton Stick. I mean, I think he might have a good game here. We got a bad taste in our mouths for backup quarterbacks because we've seen some bad ones, but there are some good backup quarterbacks in this league that just haven't gotten a shot yet. I said the same thing about Jake Browning, and I'm saying it again. I think this Easton Stick kid's got a nice arm. I think the Raiders' pass defense is overvalued. I like his overs, just like I liked Jake Browning's overs in his start a couple weeks back. So yeah, I'll be playing Easton Stick's overs in this one. Now, the downside is he's most likely not going to have any run support here. As we know, the Chargers can't run the ball. That's not exactly news. 25th in yards per carry, 25th in DVOA, 31st in PFF rushing grade. And the Raiders' run defense has really stepped up. The pass defense, I don't trust at all, but the run defense has been playing really well. I think they're like top 6 or 7 in the NFL in the last 3 or 4 weeks. So there's gonna be opportunities for Stick to make plays on the Raiders secondary, but there's also gonna be a ton of pressure on him as well. Now let's flip it over to the other side of the ball, and I have to straight up ask, how can we consider laying 3 points with this Raiders offense right now? Are we forgetting that this is probably the worst offense in the NFL? In the last 3 games, they're averaging just 10 points per game and 285 yards per game, both bottom 3 in the league. I feel like everyone's so focused on how bad the Chargers have looked that everyone's just ignoring that the Raiders offense has been so bad. And the Chargers have been great defensively. In their last 3, they're allowing just 14.7 points per game, 313 yards per game. Now, I know there's a game against the New England Patriots in there, but their other 2 games against Baltimore and Denver, 2 good opponents. This Chargers defense is playing its best football of the year right now. Remember the last time the Raiders played the Chargers? They were held to just 264 total yards in the game. Aiden O'Connell was sacked 7 times. Now, the final score was 24-17, so it looked relatively close, but it was 24-7 late, and the Raiders scored a couple times, not really in garbage time, but just in the 4th quarter to make it look a lot closer than it was. Chargers absolutely dominated that game. And if you're thinking, well, Kyle, the Chargers had Justin Herbert in that game, though. They don't have Justin Herbert in this one, so they won't be able to dominate him again. Yeah, maybe to an extent, but Justin Herbert was terrible in that game against the Raiders. I mean, maybe not terrible, but he certainly wasn't good. 13 of 24, 167 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, a 72 passer rating. I mean, that's not anything to write home about. Easton Stick just had a better performance than that, throwing the ball in the second half against Denver, who's playing good defense against the pass, let alone a Raiders defense that is suspect against the pass. The Justin Herbert thing doesn't move the needle for me as much as you would think, because he really hasn't been playing well. And then the game earlier in the season where the Chargers dominated the Raiders, Justin Herbert didn't play well. So look, I'm not saying it doesn't matter that Justin Herbert's out. I'm just saying, based on the way he's played, it shouldn't really move the needle for that much, at least. Look, if you just line these 2 teams up, put them next to each other, and just compare the roster, there is zero question that the Chargers are head and shoulders the better team here. Yes, both teams are 5-8, but the Chargers have played a much stronger schedule. They're 6th in strength of schedule in the NFL compared to 19th for the Raiders. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind the Chargers are the better team here. Before I get to the bet, I do have an underdog pick'em. It's a 3-pick, so it pays out 6 times. I'm going with Easton Stick higher in pass yards, Austin Eckler higher in rush yards, Jacoby Myers lower in receiving yards. If you don't have an Underdog fantasy account, it's available in any state highlighted in this map. So if you're in one of these states highlighted in yellow, head over to the website, or you could download the app Underdog Fantasy. When you make your account, make sure you use the promo code BET, B-E-T. That'll get you a $100 deposit bonus. So if you deposit $100, they will give you a free $100 to play with. So as far as what I'm taking in this one, no question, I'm taking the Chargers at +3. I'm kind of surprised that they're giving us the Chargers at +3, and everyone's coming in on the other side. That's crazy to me. This should be a pick'em in Las Vegas, so I feel like I'm getting a gift at +3. I know the Chargers just bit me in the ass last week bad. I took them against Denver pretty heavy, but I'm pretty confident this is the right side. Give me Chargers +3. If you want our top bets for all sports, parlays of the day, or you want to join our Discord, head over to KyleKirms.com. The information's right there on the homepage. Let's start this NFL Week 15 off properly with a Chargers +3 cover here. Remember to bet responsibly, and I'll talk to you in the Discord.